Hello, wrestling fans, and welcome to another edition of Talmbout Wrestling, right here on the Black Phoenix Network. I am your host, the Untouchable J.R. Atkins, and this is your primary destination for wrestling conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, happy 4th of July to all those who celebrate, because if you're like me, you're not really doing much, but it's fine. Today is the 4th of July, and of course, I had to bring you a special 4th of July. Okay, it's not really special, but especially if you see the thing, you see the stuff, you see it. Happy 4th of July to everybody. Be safe, be merry, pop all the firecrackers. If you're in Memphis, it's time for our favorite game of, is it guns or is it fireworks? We love to play that here. There's going to be smoke in the city, literally, because that's usually how it goes. Fireworks, barbecue. Hopefully you get some barbecue somewhere. I'm going to find some somewhere, because I don't know if anybody in my family's doing it, because nobody said anything. But I'm going to find me some barbecue. And hey, if you got a plate out there for me, I'll let your boy. Okay. I mean, I'm supposed to be kind of dieting, but hey, it's the 4th of July. So what we're going to do. Thank you for tuning in, as always, to another edition of Talmbout Wrestling. Even on the holidays, okay? Even on the holidays. We are on the march to episode 50, and we are on the march to 50 subscribers. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being part of the 50 thus far. Couldn't be here without you. And if you're new here, if you're not new here, whatever the case may be, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you tell a friend, tell a neighbor, tell a wrestler, tell a family member, tell whoever. Tell them to tune in, tell them to hit that subscribe button, tell them, make sure you leave a comment, a like, and again, make sure you subscribe. Okay. Also, if you're watching on if you're listening on Spotify, rather, make sure you leave a rating and a review. Do all the things. Engagement is the key. Engagement is the key, because we want to grow. We're on the road to 50. Decided to spruce things up a little patriotic, little razzle dazzle here for the 4th. And hey, when in Rome, right? So we got a lot to get into, because just like last weekend was a really big weekend of wrestling, we have to cover everything that happened, because it's a lot. It's a lot. We're gonna cover the shows kind of briefly, and then we're gonna get into the fallout. And this really could have been like one of those 2-episode weekends, but I don't want to throw my number off, because we're on the road to 50, and the 50 is set for a very special day. So, before we get started, I know why you're here. So it's time for a patriotic shirt of the day. Let's go. We kept it simple. This is a special edition Black Phoenix logo tee, baseball tee, if you will. Went with the red and blue with the little gray, trying to keep it patriotic. I have so many of these from my performing days when I was on stage. So it's always good to bring those out when I can. And they're a very important part of my wardrobe usually. So there's that. Will you see me on stage again? Who knows? But that's not why we're here right now, okay? We're here to talk about wrestling. And oh man, there's so much. There's just so much. Tournaments. Tournaments was the theme of the weekend. Again, there was a whole lot of wrestling that took place. We're covering the main 2 shows that I actually watched. So of course you had Saturday, you had Night of Champions from WWE. You had Collision, of course, that night, TNA Slammiversary. Then on Sunday, of course, you had NXT. Was it Great American Bash? I think it was Great American Bash. And, of course, AEW's Forbidden Door. We're just covering specifically, because these are the only 2 things I really watched. I think I did watch Collision later that night, but I was mostly watching. I did watch Night of Champions, believe it or not. Did watch Night of Champions, and of course, I watched Forbidden Door. NXT, I never was going to watch, because I don't know those people. Do not know those people at all. And Um, TNA, TNA, I would have had to try to find to watch. So that wasn't going to happen. Either. So that's that. So let's cover. Let's start with Night of Champions. Let's do it in some chronological order. The big thing. There are two big notes, three maybe, to take from Night of Champions. Really four. So first about my predictions, I went 50%. I went 3 for 3. I went 3-3. I got 3 out of 6. Um, actually, is that right? No, I went 4 for 6. Yeah, I went 4 for 6. I only missed 2. So I actually was a little better than I thought. Um, so the big thing for me, I've been harping this for a very long time, was Obafemi defeated Jey Uso to become the King of the Ring, and this is very important, and to garner a title shot at SummerSlam. Just gonna put a pin in that. First and foremost, it was very important for them to do this, right? I've been the one championing and cheerleading, and come on, and we're gonna do it. You gotta do it. You gotta ride the Roby. You gotta ride the Oba train. Ride the lightning bolt. That's what I said. And they did the thing. And then they left us with a very interesting dilemma, right? Because Oba challenging Brock every week since he's been in the King of the Ring meant that we're probably going to get that rematch at SummerSlam. But he also has a title match now for SummerSlam. So what are we going to do? Is Oba going to pull double duty? That seemed like the way to go, right? That Oba pulls double duty at SummerSlam. And a lot of people had fantasy book that, yeah, that's the way to go, because they wouldn't do a thing like, I don't know, just ignore the Brock thing, right? Or maybe Brock comes out and costs it. There was a lot of different ways, but everybody, all these naysayers, all these people who are going to ride with WWE booking no matter what, and they're just going to mold or whatever they say, said, okay, well, it makes some of them even were going as far as Jay needs to win. Brock needs to cost Oba, and that's how we get to the match, because it's not time for Oba to have a title match yet. It's not time. Roman hadn't had the belt that long, and we're in the middle of the story. All those things. All those things. But they did the thing. And now they put in and they were in a very interesting spot. Moving on. Io Sky defeated Liv Morgan to become the Queen of the Ring. And of course, she went ahead after she beat Liv Morgan, challenged her for SummerSlam. This is pretty much exactly what I figured was going to happen. That because once you beat the champion in a non-title match with stakes to earn another title shot, then of course you would challenge them again. That just makes perfect sense. It's like, okay, I beat you, Liv, but I'm going to challenge Real. That doesn't make a lot of sense. Um, so that match is made for SummerSlam officially. Um, it's a way to do it, I guess. And like I say, it's the thing that made sense. Seth Rollins defeated Braun Breaker in the steel cage match. This is the one I got wrong because I figured they would have gave that to Braun Breaker to move him on to something else. But it makes sense for Seth to win because I mean this is one of those situations where your baby face stands tall at the end. So I get it. It makes a lot of sense. Um, hmm. Next up, we had Trick Williams defeating Ricky Saints to retain the U.S. Championship. I called that one, of course, as well. There wasn't a lot of reason to do anything other than that. I think Ricky Saints hit Yachty hit a people's elbow. Oddly enough, that happened. Tiffany Stratton defeated Jade Cargill for the women's U.S. Championship. This one actually was kind of interesting because it's kind of the rubber match between them, wasn't it? Like I don't know how many rematches there were, but figured they would give Jade something to go into SummerSlam with, especially if she's going to face Charlotte. Charlotte actually is the reason that Jade lost here. So that sets up a Jade Charlotte match, probably for SummerSlam. It seems to be where the direction we're going. And that's cool. Especially if there's no title involved. I'm cool with that all the way around. Actually wouldn't mind Jade winning. I'm so anti-Charlotte. And I thought it was like, oh, she's always on TV and she's always a champion. I'm not. I'm not. Babyface heel, it does not matter. I am not Team Charlotte. I don't hate her. I could never see her on my TV again, and I would not be that upset. And even in the AEW in me, if somehow she were to end up in AEW, I still would feel the same way. Sorry. And in the main event, proud of this one. Because apparently it wasn't a thing. Sami Zayn finally becomes the undisputed WWE champion, defeating Cody Rhodes and Gunther in a triple threat match. I call this one. I called it. Because I said, hey, they have jobbed him out in Saudi Arabia. I won't say jobbed him out, but he's lost in Saudi Arabia in these big title matches several times. He did it earlier this year at the Rumble. They were not going to do it again. They were not going to keep teasing this. It's a hometown-esque. That's the thing. He gets these title matches like kind of in his hometown. They've done it, the first time was in Montreal, and he lost to Roman. The second, there may have been more, but I know the time I'm thinking. The second time was earlier this year to Drew. They weren't going to do it a third time. So, if for no other reason, that's why I picked this time. So good on him. Good on Sami for that. Sami gets a dub. Sami's finally world champion. And then the fallout. WWE wasted no time. No time. Disappointing me. Oba comes out on Raw. And Oba is saying his piece, and out comes so you're just going to embarrass me on the 4th of July. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We're back. So as I was saying, Oba comes out on Raw. He's saying his piece. He's giving his King of the Ring speech. He's celebrating his win, and out comes Brock Lesnar. And as soon as Brock comes out, you're like, okay, well, we're not gonna waste no time. We're gonna get into what's gonna happen here. So Brock comes out. He said, "Yeah, I heard you've been talking shit about me," and then he kicks him in the balls, and he gives him an F5. Okay, all right. And then he leaves the ring. Oba's like, "Hey, me and you at SummerSlam." All right, all right. We kind of figured this was going to happen. Brock says, "Hell in a Cell." Okay, okay, all right. I'm with that. I'm with it. So far, so good. This is what I figured would happen. But there's an elephant in the room that we have to address here. So let's just go ahead, how we're going to handle that. And so next we get Adam Pearce in the back. And Adam Pearce runs into Oba. And they're having this discussion. And it's like, you're sure about this? I just want to make sure because whatever. And I was like, it is fine. The titles will be there when I am ready to get them. I want. And so, no, Oba's not pulling double duty. Oba's not getting a title shot, at least right now. Oba is facing Brock Lesnar inside Hell in a Cell. Okay. All right. To close the show, we find out that also at SummerSlam, Seth Rollins will be facing Roman Reigns. So I just want to. I don't know if I said this on the show, but I actually, as this tournament was happening, and I was looking at how things were, I'm pretty sure I said it. Maybe the finals always kind of made sense to be Oba and Seth, and for Seth to win because of Brock costing him the title. That made a lot of sense. I didn't think Oba had to be in here because then why would you beat him again? But it always made sense for that to be the final. Now, like I said, if Oba's in it and he's not going to win it, then why is he even in it? Why do that? But it always made sense for that. But here's the thing: that wasn't the final. Seth didn't even qualify. He lost the qualifying match, first round, whatever you want to call it. He lost on the Fatal 4-Way because of Brian Breaker. So, the person who won the King of the Ring forgoes his championship match because he wants to fight Brock Lesnar. The person who did not even make the tournament gets a world title match instead. This y'all company, man. This y'all company. I listen. I I don't even think I have words. I think what I just said sums it up. I don't even think I have to elaborate. I've seen people excusing this, justifying this, trying to explain it away. It's WWE. Now, there's some things that could happen here. Now, whether or not they make sense, I don't know. But there are things that can happen here. The biggest thing that I'm seeing a lot of people kind of um, throw out there is Brock beating Sami Zayn for the WWE Championship, and then by that, Oba defeating Brock inside Hell in a Cell to win the championship and retire Brock Lesnar. That would suck for Sami, but it wouldn't shock me. Brock maybe beats Sami at what, like Madison Square, Saturday night's main event, and then that and then we do both, and then we get around it like that. And then what? Oba's the champ on SmackDown. I guess he throws Cody around. I mean, there are people on SmackDown. I mean, I guess that is a way to do this. WWE is going WWE. I don't even have anything else, dude. Mm. This company, this company, this company. Again, I just laid out. It's so egregious that I don't even feel like ranting about it. It's that egregious because alone the statement alone is enough, right? Just to say the person who won King of the Ring and earned a title shot said, no, I don't want to win the title. I want to fight him again, and I will give up my title shot to do it. And you know why that's crazy? Oba's character, because a lot of people are saying like, oh, because I knew immediately what the spin was going to be here. He's so confident and he believes so much in his destiny that he knows he can win the title whenever he wants. So he has no problem giving it up here to fight Brock. That's stupid. And it's written stupid for his character. Because what that character probably would have said is that he would do both. That he would conquer the beast inside Hell in a Cell and then go on to win the world championship. Could have absolutely said that. And why wouldn't Pierce do that? That's the first part. Seth now has the title shot. Big match. Huge. Seth versus Roman. Kind of knew that's where they were probably going to go. Because I said if it wasn't going to be Oba and Roman, which is what I would have picked and have go and take the Brock Lesnar path, then it was probably going to be Seth and Roman and Oba and Brock. And that's where we are. But then just have Seth win the King of the Ring. But now we're doing all this rigmarole. And if we're involving Sammy in this and him losing that title to Brock, which apparently no one's saying that's going to happen, but that's immediately where people went to how do we rectify this? You know why? Because it's so egregious that two people that Oba would give up his championship match to face Brock in Hell in a Cell. That we're trying to find a way to get back to this making sense and Oba winning the title. Because Oba needs to win the title at SummerSlam. There's no reason to stretch this out. It it is what it is. That's all I got to say. I don't even have to add anything else to it. That's WWE, people. We're gonna move on to AEW because there's a lot more happening over there. I'm gonna spoil something before I get to it because it's in the main event. But imagine Will Ospreay won the Owen, and he could go on to All In and challenge for the world championship in front of his countrymen in London. And on Dynamite, he comes out and he says, bruv, I can win the title anywhere. But Moxley, I want you in a Texas death match in London. That's how much sense that made. That's how much sense that made. And then and then like Samoa Joe gets the match against MJF or whoever is the champion instead. Samoa Joe, who was out in the first round. No. Bandito, even better. Bandito. Because Bandito went out first round against Swerve. So that's a better way to go here. No, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Whatever. Moving on. That's not happening. Now, there's a lot happening in AEW. That's not that. But whatever. Anywho, Forbidden Door was an amazing pay per view as always. Um, I it was a hard watch for me. I had to watch it like 2 or 3 different times and ways. I'm gonna be honest. I was very tired Sunday, and I kept falling asleep. I kept falling asleep. It was not a clean watch for me at all. Missed the pre-show, missed most of the pre-show. I got most of Divine Dominion taking on Thunder Rosa and Olympia. Um, I was driving home by that point. Um, by the time I got home, got everything ordered and up, I came in just in time to see the finish of the opening three-way tag with the Bucks, El Sky Team, and Unbound Company. Uh, I saw Kenny Omega and Zack Sabre Jr. I watched all of that. I fell asleep somewhere in the middle of John Moxley and Bandito. I woke up, I think, in time for Tekla and Starlight Kid. I saw that. Cope and Cage versus the Dogs. I saw the beginnings of that, and then I fell asleep. I think I woke back up for like Mercedes and Maya. I think I saw all 3 main events fully. So then I had to kind of go back and like just watch. It took 2 or 3 times. Eventually, I've seen everything. So I'm giving you a review now that I've seen everything. So I have seen it all. But I'm just letting you know that it was a lot for me to try to watch the show. A lot. Still didn't watch the pre-show, but I have seen everything else. But my picks have all kind of been right. I said that they would add a third match to the pre-show because they usually do. That ended up being Drilla Maloney taking on Daniel Garcia, getting the win. That opened up the show. Didn't see that. Still haven't seen that at all. So I didn't have a prediction there. There was Sky Blue and Micah having a match for the final spot in the TBS Championship Survival of the Fittest match. I picked Sky Blue for that. Probably should have picked Micah. Micah got the win. That is the only match that I did not predict correctly. Divine Dominion, of course, defeated Thunder Rosa and Olympia. Young Bucks defeated El Sky Team and Unbound Company. The Bucks, that was a hell of an opener. And if you're trying to get a show lit in California, you got to have the Bucks. So they did what they do. Mystico, the Scour Dorada. It's very interesting. Even Titan and then Shingo kind of playing like bass and giving like the power aspect of the match. Definitely was a hell of a way to start the show. Next up, we had Kenny Omega, Zack Sabre Jr. Very New Japan-esque type match. Kenny Omega doing Kenny Omega things. You know, they're saying like, I may not be as great as I once was, but I'm as great once as I ever was. Kenny Omega doesn't wrestle as often, but absolutely delivers every time. Every time he's in the ring. So he absolutely delivered here again with Zack Sabre Jr. Next up, we had John Moxley taking on Bandito. And of course, Mox gets the win. Hell of a showing by Bandito. Bandito kills it every time as well. Every opportunity they give him, he kills it. Bloody match. It's a funny thing that I know about wrestling now, and it's such a especially in like AEW. It's such a tale. But like anytime somebody wears white gear, I'm expecting there to be blood in the match. It's like such a tale in AEW. Every time somebody's going to bleed, they usually wear white gear because that makes the blood pop up that much better. Now, that's not to say that if they don't wear that, they're not going to bleed. Obviously, the main event is different, but it just happens. It happened like several times. Like Bandito had on this white gear, and of course he got bloodied up, and that just shows up different on your gear. Uh, in the main event, MJF had on white gear, and you knew there was going to be blood there, so that happened. Next up, we had Shota Umino, defeating Pac to retain the IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. Definitely a really good match there as well. Came a long way from the days of being the apprentice to Jon Moxley. Shooter came a long way from that. So just kind of to see him have to see, because I don't keep up with New Japan as much. So to see how much he has grown and to see that story kind of evolve and see him evolve into what he is now. Um, with the story being basically that he's not a Death Rider. They have basically kicked, I don't know if they kicked him out per se or just, because he used to be, I guess, by proxy in the BCC, but now no longer not a Death Rider. Defeating Pac, again, really great match. We all know Pac is always going to deliver as well. And then a surprise appearance at the end by one Tanahashi, who has no knees, but also giving Shooter the rub, the nod, you know. Next up for the AEW Women's World Championship, we had Tekla taking on Starlight Kid. First time seeing Starlight Kid in the ring. Very impressive. Small, but very impressive. They had this probably, I think, was one of Tekla's best matches that she's had in AEW. Tekla delivers in the ring. I don't know why they can't really. There's something, it's not off putting because I see the it that people keep saying she has, but it's like, it's like a lack of finding a feud for her or somebody who naturally feels like her I don't know. This was strange. But this was a great match. Like I said, I think her best match in AEW thus far. She won clean as a sheet. If I'm not, I think, yeah, I believe she won clean as a sheet, which is because she doesn't always win these matches clean. A lot of her matches have been won due to interference or some sort of shenanigans. So clean win here. After the match, her and the Sisters of Sin attack Starlight Kid, take her mask. Of course, the story here is her whole feud with Stardom and the owner of Stardom basically rubbing it in his face. They're building up Tekla as the hey. This reign may not be the most definitive reign that she's going to have. Like I think that about a lot of people sometimes. Like a lot of times somebody wins a championship, the reign they have, the first reign sometimes isn't the most memorable one for one reason or another. Because maybe they're still trying to say when you do something like early like this, like they're still trying to find their footing a little bit. It establishes them as a main eventer or as a champion, but they hadn't really found that groove as champion just yet. Roman is another case. Roman, for all the times that they tried to, make him a champion, it wasn't until he found Tribal Chief that him as champion really made sense. So I think it's kind of a thing there with Tekla. Like Tekla has it. Tony Storm is another one. Tony Storm is champion originally, great all those times. But Timeless Tony, completely different. So it's just a thing I think Tekla just needs to maybe find. Like it establishes her as the upper echelon of the women's division, but this reign may not be the one that really is most remembered. Like if and when I would say when she wins a second or a third, maybe then we'll get, oh, okay, now we're getting who Tekla really is. So uh, I'm looking forward to that as well. Next up for the AEW World Tag Team Championships, we have Cope and Cage taking on the Dogs. Again, another good match. Great showing by the Dogs. Um, highlighted by the return of one Switchblade, Jay White, which caused some rumbling because if you recall, Christian Cage and Jay White were having a bit of a thing when Jay White went out. So when he comes back, Cope's like, hey, they're buddy buddy. Cope and Switchblade are buddy buddy. Cage is like, I ain't rocking with that. What's up with him? What's up with your mans? What's up with your mans, B? Nah. Me and Son got beef, yo. Me and Son got beef. What's up with your mans? So, nonetheless, Cope and Cage get the win. The Bang Bang Gang is at full strength for the first time ever, damn near. But this is obviously now that Ace Austin is there, so now we have. This is literally just Bullet Club. Ace Austin, Bullet Club. Juice Robinson, Bullet Club. I mean, they were Bullet Club Gold, obviously. The Guns are only the newest ones. And interestingly enough, the Dogs were also Bullet Club. So now we have kind of a Bullet Club rivalry. Or do we? And then we get into this triple main event. Mercedes Moné defeats Maya World to win the Owen and have a championship match at All In, unless she decides instead she wants to face Willow Nightingale, because apparently that's what we do when we win tournaments. WWE, that was so stupid. That's so stupid. Anyway, sorry. Mercedes Moné wins the Owen. Like I said before, Maya World was absolutely the emotional favorite, would have been an absolute wonderful story to the Cinderella story to win the whole thing, go on to All In, and like I said, I would have went the whole way personally. However, I also know All In, your biggest show of the year, you need the biggest names and the biggest matches. So why would you not have Mercedes Moné challenging again for the Women's World Championship, and more than likely winning this time? I would I would think. Even as the heel, I would have thought she would have been a baby face by the time she won it, because I think there's some money there. But she's such a good heel that it makes sense that she would win there. Now, the question becomes, who is she going to face? Because as much as it makes, I mean, my issue when I even made my prediction, Maya World made sense if Tekla's going to be the champion, because um why would you, a heel versus heel of Tekla versus Mercedes doesn't make any sense. Any sense. I don't even know how you story that into a um into anything. How would you keep both? Like Mercedes would end up being de facto babyface probably, or Tekla would be. But then how is Tekla the de facto babyface? Because she's very heel, and Mercedes is very heel. Mercedes is heel even if she's not a heel, because people just hate on Mercedes like they do. So I don't know how you would story that with those two. And all my creative anything, I don't have anything to make that work. But and normally when I do these, I do the fallout while I'm doing the results. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do these shows separate. But on Beach Break on the next Dynamite, there's going to be a casino gauntlet match for the women for the number one contendership at Redemption for the women's title. So Mercedes punched her ticket. Now it's up to um Tekla basically to punch her ticket. I don't know who would come out of that gauntlet and who could beat Tekla. Maybe that's a baby face that could go on to who. Again, I don't know what's the biggest name that you could put against Mercedes at All In. I actually have no idea because it was Tony. Um, Willow? Could Willow come back, win the title, then drop it to Mercedes at All In? I wouldn't want to see that though. So now the thing would have to be like, who would you be okay beating Tekla, being a transitional champion, to drop it to Mercedes at All In? Which I imagine is what would happen. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have any direction for that. So this is one of those things that I don't know. I don't know. Next up, in the very first ever Death's Door cage match, this is new. They didn't even announce this was going to be a thing. It just kind of happened. The Death's Door cage match, which is a circular cage surrounding the ring. So this is different than the one they did. It's similar, same premise and everything, just that now it's a circular cage, one that we haven't seen much of in American wrestling um, in this way. It's circular, like the cage they had last year at Forbidden Door, when they did that lights out cage match, where it's kind of like Hell in a Cellish, where it's not connected to the ring. There's room on the outside for stuff to happen. It's it's that, but now it's circular. Very different. It's a different aesthetic all the way around. So that was pretty cool. Um, not bad at all. Um, Wild and crazy match. Just another. Hey, Death's Door, give it to me. Cause you know what I love in AEW? A good clusterfuck. And this was absolutely a clusterfuck. Absolutely. And it was still like not as crazy as you would think, but absolutely insane. There were so many things. There was like a Nintendo with a cartridge. That spot popped me. There was an exploding bag on top of a cage. Kevin Knight took a huge bump, the bump of the match. There was Leo Rush for some reason in a bag. Leo Rush is a delight these days. Um, Ultimately, the finish comes after Andrade turns on the Don Callis family and MJF, which we kind of saw coming out. Like I said, reason I picked them, too much turmoil in this team to win. So of course, Team Briscoe gets the win. Hell of a just it just filled me. Just everything I love in AEW. Clusterfucks are my fave. Love it, love it. Give me that, give me that. I need a DVD. I know we're getting rid of media and crap these days, but I need a DVD of AEW's Clusterfucks. I need them all. Stadium Stampede, Anarchy in the Arena, Blood and Guts. Give me all of them. There's a whole DVD set. Tony, give me what I want. Blu-ray. That's fine. Anyway. Um, and in the main event, give me 5+ stars because you knew it was gonna be all. It was 5+ stars as soon as they came out. Will Ospreay, Swerve Strickland. Will Ospreay wins the Owen Hart Cup. He gets a title match at All In, unless okay, that's not gonna happen. I'm not gonna do it again. He gets a match at All In, going on to face whoever the champion might be. This match was incredible, violent, which is not what you necessarily would expect. Like the match they had a couple of years ago was really good. This match was something different. A bloodbath, but not like a not violent in the sense of um weaponry, but just brutality, just beating the crap out of each other. Some amazing spots. Just I had to watch it again. I watched it again yesterday. It is just it's a really fantastic match. Will Ospreay comes out as Bane. Swerve Strickland comes out as Lobo. Love that Swerve is like a nerd in real life because all his gears are like, and the fact that they are like a DC, um, like DC is a Warner Brothers property, and of course WBD and all that. So he just pulls from stuff. He's been Green Lantern, he's been Candyman, he's been Lobo, he's been Static Shock, he's been Mr. Terrific, he's been there was somebody else. He did another one. I don't even remember what some of the other ones were. Like the man is a nerd, and I love every bit of it. He's a pop culture nerd, and I love every bit of it. Black people are not a monolith. Um, and that leads us into the fallout on Dynamite. And man, what a Dynamite this was. It set up so much because we have to set up for Redemption and in turn set up for All In. And there's so much. There's so much. So we opened up the very interesting backstage segment that took place after Forbidden Door. So Renee's talking to Will Ospreay. Jon Moxley shows up. Moxley basically giving him the, giving him the rub, and he gives him a Death Riders patch. So as Will's walking away, he runs into Kenny Omega, and they're kind of having a talk, and it's like, hey, in the midst of that, MJF comes out, basically says, "Yeah, I see you in Wembley, bruv." Now, I think we're teasing triple threat, but maybe this is a red herring. I don't because I don't know how we get there. With everything that's happening now, I'm not sure what happens next. So we open up. Mark Briscoe immediately wanted his match. I thought they were going to push this off to Redemption, perhaps, but no. I'm glad they didn't because now we can just get this out of the way. Because there are a lot of people who want title matches. Andrade wants a match, right? Doesn't look like he's going to get it, but he wanted a match. Kevin Knight wanted a match. We'll see what happens. Brutal match that took place mostly on the outside. It was very interesting. It wasn't a hardcore match, but it looked like one. But MJF gets the win. Again, clean as a sheet, considering how the match was. Then afterwards goes to attack Mark Briscoe some more. Out comes Kenny Omega to make the save. Now, Kenny Omega says, well, since you got so much energy, why don't we have a match tonight? MJF is like, nah. But he has an idea. I'll give you a match next week under one condition. And we know what it is. If you don't win next week, you can never challenge for the AEW championship again. That dreaded stipulation once again. And oddly enough, it's tied as much as it. So it's interesting. So kind of fast forward. He said, you got to the end of the night to give me an answer. Throughout the night, we're kind of focusing on him making that decision, Kenny making that decision. We see him backstage talking to the Bucks. The Bucks openly basically say, two elite comrades have fallen to this stipulation. And I was like, who's the second one? Oh, they're talking about Cody. Interesting. They said it without saying it. There were like 3 Cody references. Because I think Kenny might have mentioned it as well. And MJF also said his name. So like 3 Cody references on the show. That's interesting. Just because. Glad to see they don't pretend like he wasn't there, basically. So in the midst of that, you think like Cody did not. MJF actually didn't cost Cody that match. I don't believe. I have to go back and watch. I don't think MJF cost Cody that match. He just turned on him afterwards. Um, he did when that Cody lost to Jericho. This is the first time someone else has offered it as a stipulation because Cody said it, Hangman said it. This is the first time someone else has said this is the stipulation. It does kind of feel somewhat overdone, but that also leads me to believe that Kenny will win. But then that puts us in a very interesting predicament. Kenny and Will is happening in some shape, form, or fashion at All In. My question is MJF involved or not? Because I think there's a lot in a triple threat match between the three of them. Therefore, as good as Kenny and Will Ospreay could be alone, I think adding them JF in there does add something special that could take that match to another level. And I just think MJF deserves to main event after the 2026 that he's been having. To him, for him to not be in the main event feels a little icky. So again, all intents and purposes, I believe next week, fast forward to the end, Kenny of course says yes. MJF comes out to attack. They brawl a little bit and um, get pulled apart. Good old Pab, as Elite Wrestling would say. Um, so next week on Beach Break, we get Kenny Omega MJF for the championship, and if Kenny doesn't win, he can never win. He can never challenge for the title again. So obviously Kenny wins, right? But so from there, then we have Redemption and All In. So what are we doing? What are we gonna do? I have no idea. I have no idea. The like in WWE, there was like when we talk about the King of the Ring and all of that. It's like, well, here are some paths, and there's still kind of some paths. They're I don't know if they're good paths, but they're paths, and you kind of see them. I have no idea where we're going, and it's not a bad thing. I just don't know. I'm I'm along for the ride. I am along for the ride. This is actually kind of unpredictable. Now, would I have stretched this out to like redemption? Maybe. But then it makes me wonder, so what do we have for redemption then? Because if you ask me, like when Darby won the title, um, I thought that we were stretching it out to double or nothing. But and I didn't think Darby would win at all. I figured MJF would win at double or nothing. But Darby would stretch it out there. Putting the title on Darby for like a month, didn't see it coming. Did not see it coming. Now, the only issue I have with this is because we just did the Darby thing to kind of do the same thing with Code with Kenny like a month later or so is a little like okay, well, kind of, I thought we just kind of did that, but all right, that's cool. Or 2 months later, whatever. MJF loses again on TV instead of at the pay per view. I don't know. I don't know. So the one thing I am certain of is Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay will be facing each other somehow at All In. It's just a matter of is MJF there or not. That's my belief. So, um, I don't know But that's definitely what we've been building to for a while. For a while. Since like Dynasty, maybe? I think. No, maybe. Whatever it was, well, now I have to look and see. Wherever Will Ospreay faced Mox and so it was Dynasty. Yeah. Will Ospreay faced Mox and Kenny Omega faced yeah. So it was Dynasty. So what was the first pay-per-view of the year? Oh, Revolution. Okay, yeah. Forgot Revolution. So yeah, it was Dynasty. So at Dynasty, where like I said, Kenny Omega faced MJF, Will Ospreay faced Mox. Since then, yeah, since then, they've been building towards Kenny Omega and um, yeah, they've been building to Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay. Sorry, had to look that up. So, man, this is going super long now. So, um, elsewhere in Dynamite, let's wrap this up because we're getting long in the tooth. Next up, we have Kevin Knight, Leo Rush, entertaining match. Again, I knew it would be. Kevin Knight's killing it as TNT champion. Um, I've seen people saying like he still has to find himself as a heel. I think he's absolutely found it, but way better than he had as babyface. But we'll see. Um, Kevin Knight gets the win after again a very entertaining match. Um, well, before that, Andrade came out. How you know is very over, but of course he's attacked by the Don Callis family, of course, which leads us into the Kevin Knight Leo Rush match. Um, Afterwards, Darby comes out and says, "You know what happened to you at Forbidden Door will keep happening unless you give me a title shot." Kevin Knight's like, "I got it, bet," but Don Callis is like, "No, no, 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 no. You're a criminal. We do not reward criminal behavior. You will not get a title shot." Darby says, "Well, that's your ass." Okay, so we're moving. So we're definitely probably doing Kevin Knight Darby at Redemption. Looking forward to seeing how we get there. Should be very interesting as well. Um, we had Chris Jericho, Tommaso Ciampa fight, a brawl in the back, basically. They will be having their match at Beach Break next week as well. Had a tag team match, Mox and Osprey taking on the Swirl. Of course, Mox and Osprey get the win here. Um, we had a segment with Cage and Cope discussing Jay White. I talked about that a little bit earlier. Um, we had a segment with Jay White and the Bang Bang Gang, basically addressing the dogs, saying he got smoked for David Finley. That's the gist of that. Next up, we had Survival of the Fittest match, which I also made a prediction for. Throwing that out there. Micah, Harley Cameron, Sheeta, Persephone, Chris Statlander, Queen Amanada. My picks, of course, or my pick. I said Smart Money's on Hikaru Sheeta. She's probably going to come out of here with the dub. The emotional favorite probably be Harley Cameron. My personal pick would be Queen Amanada. Harley Cameron was the first one eliminated. Queen Amanada was the second. Hikaru Shida comes away with the dub. I'm sorry. Queen Amanada was the third. Michael was the second. Hikaru Shida comes away with the dub and the championship after Persephone smacks Chris Statlander with the title belt, knocks her out cold. Shida gets the technical submission and is your new TBS champion. Hey, man. I'm a predictions whiz. Okay, let's throw it out there. I need to be somebody predictions champion. Big muscle, not the little one. Okay. Anywho, and of course, I mentioned Kenny Omega um, accepts the challenge from MJF. Um, I did not watch Collision necessarily. I did watch some highlights last night, so I do kind of know what happened. Andrade beats um, Brian Cage. Of course, Death Riders beat Unbound Company again. Thunder Rosa Mina pick up a win. Copeland Bang Bang Gang beat Shane Taylor Promotions. But then the Dogs and the Death Riders, because remember they're connected, attack Cope and the Bang Bang Gang. This is a very interesting dynamic because Will Ospreay's a Death Rider now, like officially a Death Rider now. But he wasn't out there for the beatdown. Neither was Mox. So, what a tangled web we are weaving. The Demand pick up a win for the number one spot in the casino, women's casino gauntlet. That's going to happen on Beach Break. Athena gets the number one spot, taking on Arena. Athena gets the win. We had the Rascals taking on Speedball, Mystico, and Bandito. Of course, Bailey, Mystico, and Bandito get the win there. Rouge picks up a win for the number two spot. Julia Hart takes on Maya World. Maya World gets the win. Another great opportunity for Maya World. It just makes me go, Nixon Newell. Mm-mm-mm. And Kyle Fletcher took on LP. Of course, Kyle Fletcher gets the win there. Very, very, very busy week in wrestling. Very busy week in wrestling. A lot of interesting decisions, a lot of interesting stuff happening. We're building towards SummerSlam. We're building towards Redemption. We're building towards All In. There's a lot happening. This is going to be, the summer is going to cap off very insanely. SummerSlam probably will be good, all things considering. It's just we don't know where anything's going right now. Cody's the number one contender for the championship. He's going to face Sammy on Raw for some reason this week. Why is it on Raw? I don't know. But you know who's probably going to be on Raw? Brock Lesnar. So now these things seem to be getting very. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know why that match is happening on Raw. It's in Chicago. You know who else? You know what else they're saying that people are predicting is probably going to happen in Chicago? Who lives in Chicago? That makes sense, right? So it's a very interesting time. It's a very interesting time for WWE. It's a very interesting time for AEW. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Now, I've talked your ear off for probably well over an hour at this point. So, with all that being said, thank you for tuning in to Talmbout Wrestling. Happy 4th of July once again. I'm not going to do like some patriotic thing because, I mean, whatever. You get it. Thanks for tuning in. This has been another edition of Talmbout Wrestling. Again, make sure that you like, share, subscribe. Make sure if you listen, leave a rating, a review. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you leave comments. Let me know what you thought of any of the things that have happened thus far. I'll be waiting to hear from you, my adoring family. The Black Phoenix Brigade. We are again on the road to 50 subscribers, 50 episodes. Those two things don't necessarily correlate, but I want to hit both. So, without further ado, again, also, AEW Dynamite in Nashville. I still intend to be there. I hadn't bought tickets yet, but I will be there. I do intend to be there. So look for me. I'll be handing out flyers. So that being said, until next time, as we always say, until next time, we are out.